Chapter 77. The gourd enters the palace. Eat. What kind of gourd is this? Gu Hai curiously said. I don't know. Ziwei shook her head. I don't know, you guys want to eat it. Does it matter? Eternal Life said doubtfully. Gu Hai, what if it's poisonous? Long Wenyu also rolled her eyes. These two don't care about anything when they see food. What's so poisonous about a gourd? Even if it's poisonous, it's fine. The two of us aren't human anyway. Ziwei shook her head. Gu Hai, Long Wenyu. But there's this blue boundary. It all feels like an infinite fire. How can we eat it? Long Wenyu doubted. This blue boundary is one of the old man's most powerful magic treasure back then. A sealing magic treasure. We can rely on it to get close to the fire gourd. Chong Shek said confidently. Old man. Did he say? What is this place? The environment is a bit peculiar. The fire gourd. The top and bottom are blood water. With such a big fire, there's no reaction on the ground. Gu Hai was puzzled. I remember. Ziwei steeply looked puzzled. Oh. The old man mentioned that this tunnel of his wasn't traveling through the ground. I can't tell. I only know that the fire gourd seems to suppress something. And the location here is between the yin and yang realms. Ziwei recalled. How come I don't know? Chong Sheng stared at Ziwei. You were drooling. How could you have time to listen to the old man? You were pretty much the same. Wasn't it the old man who grabbed you by the ears in the end before leading you away? The two of them counted each other down. Gu Hai was carrying Long Wenyu, but revealed a hint of doubt. Let's go. I'll activate the sealing formation. Let's try it. Ziwei said excitedly. Probing his hand, he pushed on the blue transparent boundary. Buzz. The blue boundary steeply seemed to move, suddenly shrinking backwards and wrapping the four people in a blue ball. Boom. The boundary loosened, and the rolling fire traveled down the tunnel towards the distance. Standing in the blue boundary ball, the four of them slowly moved to the center of the great fire, moving to where the fire gourd was. Gu Hai strangely looked at the blood pools above and below. It was as if there was a blood pool above and below. The one above was floating in the air. The one below was rippling. And on top of the blood pool below, there were a large number of red runes floating, as if it was a formation that was suppressing the blood pool below. And the fire gourd emanates a big fire, 90% of which is drilled into the red runes, supplementing the red rune energy. The fire gourd is really suppressing the blood pool below. Long Wenyu stared. It's coming. It's coming. It's taken 3,000 years to grow this big. It must be an unbelievably good treasure. Gulp. Long Sheng swallowed his saliva and said, the old man was drooling even looking at it back then. It must be something good. Ha ha ha. I'll go first. I'll go first. Ziwei excitedly brought his face over. The face slowly stretched out the blue knotted ball. You don't want your face. Long Wenyu was surprised. Wow. As expected, the rolling fire came to Ziwei's face, which was immediately burnt red, but with the food right by his mouth. How could he let it go? In one bite, Ziwei ruthlessly bit on top of the gourd. Crunch. Woo-woo. Ziwei covered the side of his mouth and came back crying. What? Everlasting was puzzled. Ziwei loosened her hand, and her teeth chipped out of her mouth. Hey ha 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 ha. Long Wenyu laughed heartlessly. So hard. You're steel chewing. Copper crushing teeth chipped off. Gu Hai was surprised. Stupid. You wouldn't swallow it in one bite. What's the point of bothering with that? Watch me swallow it in one bite, Chong Sheng instantly said with disdain. Bullshit. If you swallow it in one bite, we can't eat shit. Ziwei was instantly anxious. What then? Chong Sheng said doubtfully. I'll try again. Ziwei shook her head. The face stretched out again. Opening her mouth, she sucked violently. You won't let me swallow it. So you'll swallow it yourself, right? Chong Sheng was instantly anxious. However, He saw the fire gourd come towards Ziwei's mouth all of a sudden. Boom. The fire gourd crashed into Ziwei's face, and Ziwei's face turned red and covered his face. What happened to you again? Longwen was curious. Ziwei covered her face with a pained expression, not speaking. What? Longwen was puzzled. Ziwei didn't speak either. If you don't say anything, I'll move my mouth, Chongsheng queried. Opening his mouth, he followed Ziwei's example and sucked violently. Boom. After tossing and turning for a while, he still couldn't take a bite. The fire gourd was emitting a big fire, so he couldn't eat it at all. After trying various methods, all of which were useless, Ziwei and Chongsheng revealed a look of despair. Actually, one day, he was defeated by eating, put such delicious things, but couldn't open his mouth. The old man lied to me. Can't eat at all. Chongsheng despaired. Why don't you cook it and eat it? Ziwei frowned. Everyone together turned their eyes to Ziwei. That look, are you stupid? The fire gourd itself still emits a large fire. How can you cook it? Ziwei and Chongsheng looked with a wave of grudging eyes. There could only be a burst of helplessness. What kind of flame is this? Shall I absorb it and see if it can help me break through? Guhai said with a hint of anticipation. In the past, the drought demon flame was able to help himself break through. But after the breakthrough in the past, the drought demon flame was already of insufficient grade. At this moment, this fire gourd might be able to bring himself to the next level. Try it, Ziwei and Chongsheng said listlessly. Guhai put down Longwen and closed his eyes. His hands slowly reached out the boundary, and a monstrous disaster steeply swept over. Boom. The great fire seemed to be about to burn Guhai's right hand in an instant, but the power of the absolute life blade, however, quickly repaired the injuries of Guhai, and the rolling fire was absorbed by Guhai and went straight to the fire god palace. Boom! The great fire went straight to the fire infant, and in an instant, the fire infant felt like a great nourishment. The rolling flame energy was quickly absorbed by the fire infant. If it was an ordinary heart orifice, the great fire intruded into it, and perhaps destroyed the heart orifice in an instant. But Guhai was using the fire god palace forged by the fire god, and the great fire raged on, yet it was still able to withstand it in general. The Yuanying was slowly growing, as if it was slowly coming of age from a young child. Boom! A stream of air bulged out around Guhai. A breakthrough. Longwen face was delighted. The fourth level of the Yuanying realm. Guhai's heart was also bursting with surprise. But right at this moment, the fire gourd seemed to sense something and trembled abruptly. Guhai's eyes opened. Long. The fire gourd instantly disconnected from the vines, followed by a shake and disappeared. After losing the fire gourd, the vines, at an extremely strange speed, rapidly withered amidst it, until it turned into a pile of powder and abruptly disappeared into thin air. Where's the gourd? Where's the gourd? Everlasting abruptly exclaimed. Guhai steeply roared in pain. It was the fire gourd that had, somehow, suddenly arrived in Guhai's fire god palace. A terrifying fire raged, and a flame seemed to tear apart the fire god palace. Boom! A great fire emerged from Guhai's body. It seemed as if it was going to burn all of Guhai's body. Brother-in-law, how are you? Longwen said, anxiously. Guhai, what happened to you? Chongsheng was also surprised. Fire gourd. The fire gourd went inside Guhai's body. Ziwei's face changed. Then what should we do now? Longwen face was anxious. Yeah, this fire gourd, Guhai's cultivation, he can't restrain it at all, or he's going to be burnt to death. Chongsheng also said anxiously. Pour this sealing boundary of the old man into Guhai's body and help him seal the fire gourd. Ziwei gritted his teeth and said, Good. Eternal life, and Ziwei struck out with the same hand. This sealing boundary, as if it had some kind of mechanism, Both of them knew how to manipulate it. Boom! With a fierce wave of their hands, the blue boundary steeply rushed into ancient sea's fire god palace, and in an instant, it reached the place of the fire gourd. Boom! The blue boundary wrapped the fire gourd up. Instantly, the fire no longer burned the surrounding area, and Gu Hai felt much better. Who. This flame level is too high. Even my fire god can't stand it. Gu Hai's eyes opened, revealing a hint of shock. On the side, Ziwei and Chongsheng looked at Gu Hai with wide eyes. Gu Hai, how did you get it into your stomach? Chongsheng curiously said. I don't know. I absorbed the flames for a while. My cultivation increased, and then it went in by itself. Gu Hai shook his head. This is the rhythm of recognizing the master. Shit, this bullshit fire gourd. Why didn't it come to my stomach? Ziwei instantly glared in depression. When it came to your stomach, it was digested by you. How would it dare to recognize you as its master? Chongsheng bristled. By the way, this blue boundary, it won't last long. You'd better work hard on your cultivation so that your body can accept a little bit more of this flame level. Ziwei shook her head and said, I'll think of a way to get it out for you guys later. Gu Hai smiled bitterly. Alright, then Gu Hai, thanks a lot. In the coming day, when we go to my great Han dynasty, you guys let go and eat. Gu Hai laughed. That's right, the duo immediately said with excitement. Look, that big fire. It's all been sucked up by the runes on the blood pool below. Longwen grabbed Gu Hai's arm and pointed at the blood pool below. Above the blood pool below, without the fire gourd supplying the great fire, the red runes sucked up all the surrounding flames. Caw. Steeply, one of the red runes revealed a large number of cracks, seemingly about to break open. The old man said that something powerful is being suppressed underneath the fire gourd. Ziwei was curious. I feel danger. Great evil. There's something great and evil underneath this. Let's quickly hide away. Longwen said. Anxiously, Gu Hai's complexion moved and nodded. Longwen felt a great evil, so it must be nothing good. What about up there? Gu Hai pointed to the blood pool above. There's nothing up there. Longwen shook her head. I'll go up and take a look. Ziwei jumped and instantly jumped to the blood pool above. Plop. In went half of his body. Whew. Ziwei came back. What's wrong? Everlasting was puzzled. Is this a two-world mouth? Allowed to enter, not allowed to leave? Luckily half of my body didn't go in, otherwise I wouldn't be able to come back. Ziwei was surprised. What's up there? Eternal Life asked. I don't know, it's all blood. Ziwei shook her head. I'll be the link. You guys go in and take a look, Chongsheng said at once. Good. The crowd jumped into the blood pool together. Only Chongsheng left half of his body to enter, so that the crowd could pull Chongsheng's body back then. Gu Hai, Longwen and Ziwei entered the depths of the blood pool. The blood pool was very hot, obviously all burnt by the fire gourd earlier, and there were some bubbles rolling around. The crowd floated towards the top. The blood pool was very deep and slowly floated to the top. Wow! The three of them floated out of the surface of the blood pool. They appeared in a dungeon. Gong Yong Sheng. Longwen looked at the white-clothed man who was trapped not far away and said in surprise,